Hey everyone, welcome back to the Swiftly Sung Stories podcast. I'm Jen. I am your Swifty English teacher, and today we are tackling track 3 in my track by track analysis of The Life of a Showgirl. And we're going to dive straight into Opalite. In my last few episodes, I analyzed Taylor's prologue poem and tracks 1 and 2, The Fate of Ophelia and Elizabeth Taylor. So go check those out because especially the prologue poem lays a lot of groundwork for understanding this album and all of the themes that Taylor is exploring in these lyrics. Just quickly to let you know, all this content is available on my website if you want the text version of my lyrical analysis where I have annotated lyrics. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can also find me wherever you get your podcasts and vice versa. Okay, let's roll straight into Opalite, line by line. Welcome to Swiftly Sung Stories, where we unpack the Taylor Swift universe one era, album, and lyric at a time. Think of it like English class, but it's all Taylor Swift and none of the boring stuff. I'm Jen, your Swifty English teacher, and class is in session, so come on in and meet me in the margins. I lied. We're not going straight into it. I need to do a quick disclaimer. I only discuss Taylor's personal life in my lyrical analysis when it is essential to understanding the text or when it really helps us to put the lyrics into context. I'm not here to discover what Taylor Swift did. I'm here to discover what the art does. All art is subjective, and it means different things to different people, and that's the fun of it. So in this analysis, I'm not going to say it's factual or correct. I'm just here to point out different interpretations so that you can draw your own conclusions. So take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, let's get into Opalite. The first verse, she says, I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. We are in the present tense, looking back on her previous dark nights of the soul. And she's building this character with crucial backstory because we can't celebrate this character's later happiness if we don't first understand where they were and where they've been. If we wanted to, we could look back on the Tortured Poets Department and Midnights to see some of these bad habits, as those two albums really dive into those themes. She continues, my brother used to call it eating out of the trash. This has to be the most hilarious line on this entire album. To eat out of the trash means to try to revive something that's already been tossed aside. You threw it away for a reason because it no longer served you, but on particularly hungry nights, it might be tempting. But as a metaphor, longing for your ex is just hilarious, and it's kind of a slide take at any of her lovers past. But the simple, my brother used to call it, is also important because it sets up one of the major themes of the song, which is lessons learned from others or lessons learned on her own, which she is now passing down to her audience. She's going to go on to relay lessons from her mom and then relay all of those lessons to us, her reader. So if you eat out of the trash, it's never going to last, she continues, which could mean that this bad habit won't land her anywhere she wants to be. But it could also refer to a metaphorical expiration date of those relationships. You shouldn't go back to snack on them after they're past their prime because it's only going to make you metaphorically sick. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. She's giving us more backstory of this dark onyx night, so we will later understand why it's so much better when the sky turns brighter like opalite. Now, ghosts and hauntings are a really common metaphor in Taylor's universe, where they often come to symbolize regret. Here's just a few of them. I knew you'd haunt all of my what ifs from Cardigan. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons from Would've, Could've, Should've. Dancing Phantoms on the Terrace from Love of My Life, LOML. My Beloved Ghost and Me, Sitting in a Tree, DYING from How Did It End? And there's many more, but when we look at the larger meaning, I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. Can mean she's either living with the ghosts of lovers past, or she's living with this haunting regret of all these choices that she's made in love and life. But as we're about to find out, all of these prior hauntings are in the past now. How she finally come to hire a priest to exorcise my demons, as she said she would in The Black Dog. It sounds like it. She continues, and all the perfect couples said, when you know, you know, and when you don't, you don't. So she looks to couples she admires for advice, but they all just say the same thing. You'll just know when you found the right person. If you don't know if it's the right person, it's not. Your intuition will tell you everything. But this could also be a lyrical reference to Lana Del Rey's song Margaret, written for their mutual friends Jack Antonoff and his wife Margaret Qualley. The repeating lyric in that song is when you know, you know. So this in real life could be one of the perfect couples that Taylor refers to in this lyric. But in any case, the sentiment is the same. You just know when you meet the right person, which is true, by the way. And if you don't know for sure, that is confirmation that it's not the right person. Then we move into the first pre-chorus. And all of the foes and all of the friends, they've seen it before, they'll see it again. She surmises that everyone goes through this cycle from darkness to light, from breakups to weddings, from depression to happiness. They'll see dark times again and they'll see brighter times ahead. This is just the cyclical nature of life. But foes and friends also ties into one of the larger themes of this album, conflict in platonic relationships, as she's going to explore in songs like Cancel, Actually Romantic, and Father Figure. But this also reminds me of another line from How Did It End? Come one, come all, it's happening again. The empathetic hunger descends. We'll tell no one except all of our friends. In that context, it feels like she's saying those foes and friends have scandalized my romances before, and they will scandalize them again. But she's got this new outlook, and she's changed her views on all of this gossip, as she's about to tell us in the chorus. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. I was wrong. Previously, she assumed seasons of life would simply end when they ended, or relationships, which she compares to a song, would simply fizzle out when they were meant to. It's the fate and destiny of it all, which is an ever-present theme on this album and so many others. But as she's learned, which she's going to explore more in the chorus, you have more control over your own happiness than you think you do. But my mama told me, she closes out this pre-chorus, leading into another important piece of advice that she will flesh out. So now we have advice from the mother and the brother. And then as she enters the chorus, her mother tells her, it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes. So her mom is saying, it's all right. You were making the best of a bad situation. The lightning strikes are terrible personal or professional events that happen seemingly out of nowhere. But instead of sheltering to avoid getting struck, she dances through the storm. Sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. This is the central metaphor and the central message of this track. Onyx is a jet black type of naturally occurring quartz. It has long been associated with bad luck, sadness, and bad dreams. An onyx night is therefore a long, dark night of the soul, filled with depression and longing and restlessness, as she explored in both Midnights and the Torture Pose Department. Opalite, on the other hand, is a pearlescent, man-made gemstone, usually white and or light blue, like the sky. The distinction is in how these two gems are created. One is mined and one is created by man. The sky, which is her metaphorical future and happiness, hasn't just cleared magically on its own. It happened intentionally. She's created her own happiness. She's mashed up two common metaphors of the Taylor Swift universe here in one lyric. First is the gemstones, which she used in Bejeweled and in others, which represent her innate value and worth and her inner sparkle. She used rubies in Maroon, the rubies that I gave up, where the gemstone is something valuable she sacrificed. So
You get the idea. Gems in Taylor's multiverse become symbolic of her worth. But the other common metaphor that she's using here is darkness and light. So the darkness of night and the light of day used as emotional states or as hope. In Evermore, there's in the cracks of light, I dreamed of you, sleeping so long in a 20-year dark night, and now I see daylight from daylight. He was sunshine, I was midnight rain from midnight rain. And there's a lot more. So she's mashed up these two common metaphors into one unifying metaphor. She used to be sleepless in this long, dark night of the soul, and now she's awake in the dawn of a new day. She's describing a mood ring, essentially, where opalite means she's happy and onyx means she's sad. But then add on to it this layer of how the gemstones are created, naturally occurring versus man-made, and we can see she stopped looking for other people to create her happiness and took charge of her own emotions to find a more peaceful and optimistic path. Oh my Lord, she continues, never met no one like you before. Now, she could be speaking to this unique person who has contributed to her new sunny disposition, but she could also be speaking to herself or to her younger self. Like she says in Happiness, I haven't met the new me yet. She's this new version of herself that she hadn't met before and she didn't even know was possible. But here she is, renewed. You had to make your own sunshine, she says to this person or to herself. But now the sky is opalite. This too could be speaking to a past version of herself who was stuck in this onyx night. If she's addressing another character in the song, they had much in common. They both had to create their own happiness and choose joy during unhappy times. But now the sun shines over both of them. If she's strictly speaking to herself or to her younger self, it's really a message of encouragement, like, keep going, it'll get better. You're in the dark right now, but it'll be so much brighter soon. The second verse is still in first person, but it seems to be addressing someone in particular or giving us an anecdote about someone who has felt a similar way. Again, we don't know for sure. She could be talking to her past self or younger self. She could be talking to someone in particular. You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. So on the outside, this person or her younger self seemed to have it all. So why did it feel so empty inside? This particular theme is explored in a lot of songs on this album, and particularly in Elizabeth Taylor. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. So this character was really invested in this relationship, but their partner wasn't. She was in her phone, living for what things look like rather than what they actually are. This partner was just a pose, an accessory for Instagram or used for popularity or clout or aesthetics. This could be an ex-partner of the subject, but it could also apply to our narrator in friendship. There's a lot of conflict in friendship and business relationship explored on this album, so it could be either or it could be both. And don't we try to love, she asked this person, or herself, or her audience at large. We give it all we got. This points to a really interesting contradiction. Love isn't inherently lovable. Just like she says in the prologue poem, that's how you love the life of a showgirl. It's not a life that is inherently lovable. We try to love being in love, but often it just leads to heartbreak. Like she says in State of Grace, we fall in love till it hurts or bleeds or fade in time. Still, we want it to work, so we try our best to hold on and we bend over backwards and we try to enjoy it, even if it does nothing but hurt us. You finally left the table, she continues, closing out the second verse. What a simple thought. You're starving till you're not. This is a loaded metaphor that has multiple different interpretations, and the most obvious is that she's finally left the table from right where you left me. Help, I'm still at the restaurant, she says in that track, which is really about feeling stuck and abandoned. Another possibility is the table from Tolerated. I lay the table with the fancy shit and watch you tolerate it. But while this could be referencing a specific table in the TS universe, it also alludes to the popular saying, don't try to get a seat at a table you're not invited to. This means that in relationships, you shouldn't try to be fed by people who don't value you. In any case, she tells us, it's a simple thought. Just get up and leave. Find a metaphorical table where you're satiated and there's a place laid for you and you're an honored guest. You're starving for attention, for love, for belonging until you're fed. And sometimes that happens in the blink of a twinkling eye. The second pre-chorus, and all of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. This echoes the sentiment of the previous pre-chorus where all of the foes and friends have seen it before or see it again. Life is cyclical and we make mistakes. We choose the wrong people. We learn our lessons. In relationships, we choose the wrong people and lose the right people and try to sit at tables where we're not invited. Life is a song. It ends when it ends, she continues. You move on. When the metaphorical song is over, you move on to the next track. There will always be another song, another period in your life where you're happy or sad or fulfilled or unfulfilled. But if you don't move on to the next track, and this is what's important, and you continue to live in the past with that same old song on repeat, you'll just stay stuck in this loop of unhappiness. The final line is where we move away from the advice of others, and she starts passing down her own advice. Of course, she's been doing this all along, but this progression in the narrative sense moves through all of these lessons she's learned, and now she passes down that hard-earned advice to us, her reader. And that's when I told you, she says. And then the rest of the chorus repeats. It's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes. She's taking these lessons learned from others or from herself and passing them down to us. She does change up one crucial word in this chorus, though. Never met no one like you before changes to never made no one like you before. This echoes the major theme of the song. You have to make your own happiness. Again, who she's speaking to here is up to debate. It could be this character with the terrible girlfriend. It could be herself, as in she's created a new version of herself. Or it could just be us. But at any rate, the crucial point is that she made it. She created it. And now she's happy because she chose to be. In the bridge, she says, this is just a storm inside a teacup. A storm in a teacup is a popular British metaphor that means there's a big deal being made about something relatively small. If you're getting upset and throwing a fit about spilled milk, you're making a storm in a teacup. But here it also means that in the grand scheme of things, this storm is contained. It's small, though it may look scary, but overall it's inconsequential, even though it may seem like a big deal when it's happening. But shelter here with me, my love, she says. She's offering solace to her love or to her younger self. They can ride out this storm together. This is reminiscent of other times that Taylor has been the rescuer. But I'm a fire and I'll keep your brittle heart warm from peace. And spread my wings like a parachute. I'm the albatross I swept in at the rescue from, of course, the albatross. In The Fate of Ophelia, she was the rescued, but here she's the rescuer. She'll shelter them from the storm, shelter them from thunder like a drum. This life will beat you up, 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 up. And this repeated up mimics this beat of the drum. But then there's beat up and pick up. And we get the sense that this trajectory for both of them is going north, not south. So they're going up, 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 up into the sky, which will be Opalite as soon as the storm passes. This is just a temporary speed bump, she said. But, and this is my favorite line, failure brings you freedom. So life throws speed bumps in your way, but what do those do? They cause you to slow down and look around and proceed with caution. This failure is a good thing, she says. And this is my interpretation. Failing will free you from the constraints of perfectionism. Once you realize that this is the cyclical nature of life, failures to successes and there and back again, you can zoom out and appreciate how freeing this surrender is. It's the c'est la vie of it all. And that's a liberating worldview to take. And once you've failed and recovered, it's like the worst has already happened. So you know you can handle it. You'll be free from fear. And I can bring you love, 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 she says. She's assuring this character herself that no matter what happens, she's got their emotional needs covered. She's a real tough kid and she can handle their shit. Don't you sweat it, baby. She closes out the bridge and then she repeats the chorus one last time before closing this track. Don't you worry about a thing, she says. Because of all of the lessons learned, this one is the most important. This too shall pass. By the end of the song, they've gone through the emotional storms of the Onyx Night and now have this new outlook on life and love, and the sky is opalite. The storms have passed. And though storms will roll in again, she sees what's possible, and she wants us to know that she's seen the view from the other side of the mountain. Nothing but clear skies ahead, as long as you realize that you can simply choose to be happy. Thank you so much for joining me for track 3, Opalite. And if you found this insightful or entertaining, or you just want to keep geeking out about Taylor Swift with me, please like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also find me wherever you get your podcasts and vice versa. Let me know in the comments what you think about this song. And stay tuned for my next episode where we're going to dive into the lyrics of Father Figure, which is my favorite on the album. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll see you in the next track.
That's it for this chapter of Swiftly Sung Stories. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to follow, subscribe, or leave a review. It helps other Swifties find their way here. I'm Jen, and I had a marvelous time reading everything with you. See you next time.